Hi and welcome to my channel. I am Tammy Ozturk, the designer of badbobbin.com. I'm here today to show you how to make the note photo holder. There will be different designs on it, and there'll also be a blank design so that you can use printed vinyl if you'd like. It's a little note holder clip for photos, notes. It's done with a little binder clip, glue, your sewing machine, little photo holder, stands up on your desk. Very cute little idea. I saw it as a fabric thing and thought, yep, we're going to make it as a vinyl. So very simple, quick stitch out. And remember to subscribe, give me a like, thumbs up if you like it. Any comments, any other things you'd like me to talk about or do a video on, let me know down below in the comments, please. And hope you enjoy the video. And let's head on over to the cutting table and see what we need to make this cute little note photo holder made with a binder clip and vinyl. See you there. Okay, here are the items that you're going to need for the note slash photo holder. And I have my printout. I made a little quick stitch guide that you can print out to give you the sizes that you need. This one happens to show the I love you, but today we're going to do the don't forget one. Okay, so I have that. You need binder clips. These are the 1 1/4 binder clips. You can get them at Dollar Tree, Pick and Save, or not Pick and Save anymore, sorry. Big Lots. You can get them from 99-cent store, just, you know, even Walmart. It's just a simple binder clip, and it's the 1 1/4 size one. So you just need one binder clip for one holder. And the pattern can come, will come both ways, that you can either do one in a 4-inch hoop, so if you have the 4-inch hoop, you can make one, or you can do the whole thing in one hoop in the 5x7 hoop. So I'm going to show you the 5x7 hoop today. We have our vinyl, which is the plain vinyl if we're going to do a pattern one. There's also going to be a blank one that you can buy, so you can use your own printed vinyl if you want. It'll be cute, you know, just to make one of the clips with the printed vinyl. So that's the blank one. Today we're going to do with the design, so I can show you the whole steps. Our plain vinyl, and we've got two pieces that are cut out for the front and the back. We've got that at 4 inches by 2.5 inches. Then we have our pockets, which are 4 inches by 1.5 inches, and then the lining, which will be behind our vinyl piece, and that will be 4 inches by 2.5 as well. So we've got 2 felt, 2 vinyl, and then our vinyl pockets. Rotary cutter and a straight. If you don't have that, scissors are fine. I'm using Fabri-Tac. You can use hot glue, you can use E6000, any glue that you feel that you've used on vinyl and felt and metal and that will keep it together. You're more than welcome to use whatever you use that works best for you. For me, I'm using the Fabri-Tac. That works simple and easy without having to plug that glue gun in. My scissors, inexpensive. My lighter to singe my ends of threads to knot them up and keep them from fraying. And I think we're all ready to go, and I will meet you at the sewing machine. Okay, we're at the machine now. I have my pattern in my machine ready to go, and this pattern is the one for the 5x7 hoop, which is going to do the front of the note holder with the pattern on it, and it's also going to do the back, which is a plain with no pattern. And our first step is going to be a placement line, and it's going to do one at a time. I'm not going to do both at the same time. Okay, now with the design, I'm only going to put the top piece on. I'm going to use a tacky spray. A little bit of tacky spray, or you can use tape to tape it down. And I'm going to center it so that the sides are even and the bottom even with the top. Press it down, make sure it's there, and I'm going to put it back in the machine, and we're going to stitch out now the pattern for it. Now I'm going to check the back. I'm going to trim it a little bit before I put the back piece on. I'm going to cut some of the threads a little bit that are sticking out. That way they're not sticking out the bottom. And when I do singe these, it kind of shrivels them up, so that kind of puts a little knot there so they don't fray out the front side. So when I push them in to make sure they don't stick out. There we go, no loose ends. Now I'm going to attach my felt piece. I'm going to use tacky spray again. If not, you want to use tape, more than welcome. I'm going to center it, make sure that it's centered on all sides, and right down to the bottom. So we're all set. We have our felt on the back. I'm going to carefully place it back in, press it down to make sure it is tacked and it's on there. I'm going to place it back in the machine, and I'm going to lift up a little bit just so it doesn't catch, and I'm always going to lift underneath and make sure it didn't catch, and then I'm going to stitch out the next part, which is going to be tacking down the felt, and it's going to put 2 little tack marks so I know where to place my pocket. Okay, now I have my 2 little tack marks. I'm going to trim a little bit of the thread. You don't have to, doesn't matter, you'll be cutting it off later anyways, but I don't want it to be on the inside of my cotton where my pocket is. So I'm going to trim some of that thread as well, coming off the sides. Alright, so I trimmed a little bit of thread here where it ended. Now I'm going to take my pocket piece, and I want to make sure I've got the straightest cut edge. I don't want it like wobbly or anything. That's why I use a straight edge to cut. So my straightest edge, I'm going to place it right on those 2 marks here. Those are my 2 tabs. It's my placement line, so I know where to put my pocket. And I'm going to set it right on those marks. And in this case, I'm not going to, I can't use a tacky spray. I'm going to use my tape. I have tape here. I want to tape on my sides. And I don't want to go too far into where the stitching is, but just enough to hold it down. You can do the bottom too if you want, but it's going to be really close. This is minimizing, not using, wasting any vinyl. So all the measurements for cutting are right to the minimum where you won't be wasting. So I press down, make sure my tape is secure. I'm going to put it back in the machine again for the last step, which is attaching our pocket. Same thing, I'm going to lift up a little bit while I put it in, slide it, and check underneath again to make sure nothing shifted. And I'm going to stitch out now the last part, which is going to tack down our pocket piece. Okay, in the 5x7, the next step that it's going to do is do the tack down stitch. This one's a little bit different, 1 step less. So I'll have that stitch out the tack down. Correction, that was stitching out the placement line, not a tack down line. Sorry, it was, didn't tell you the right thing. So that stitch is our placement line. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to take the tape off of our other one, since we know that one did well. And I'm going to attach my felt first. Trim these little threads. And I'm going to use tacky spray again. It just needs a little bit just to tack it down. I'm going to center it and make sure it covers the top and the bottom. Flip over real quick, and I'm going to push down to make sure it's there, and I'm going to now attach our top piece, which is the vinyl, plain vinyl piece. A little bit of tacky spray, center it, and press down, make sure it's there, secure. Bottom piece is secure, it's not falling off. top part is secure. If you want, you can tape it if you don't want to use the tacky spray. I always spray away from our machine, never in the hoop or near our machine. Slide it back in, make sure the bottom hasn't caught or dislodged. And I'm going to now tack the back and the front piece and make our little guidelines for our pocket piece. We'll pull it out of the hoop, or I mean, sorry, not out of the hoop, we'll pull it out of the machine. And I'm not going to worry too much about those. I'll make sure they're headed towards the outside. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to cut these. And these won't be attached all the way to the end. This is not the final stitch, but I'm going to singe them. That way it keeps them tacked. Careful with felt when you do singeing. The felt will melt, so you want to be really quick when you're working with felt on singeing any threads. Turn it back to the front, make sure everything's good. I have a little hanging piece again. I'm going to go ahead and just singe that and press it down. So we'll turn it back over to the back, and we're going to attach our pocket now, and this is the part where I do use the tape. We have our little marks, the straightest edge that we have cut of our pocket. It's not really going to be seen, but you want to make sure that it's nice, you know that you've made it right. And we're going to make sure we're right at our lines, same as the other one. Tape the sides down. And there we go. I'm going to press down, make sure it's tacked. Put it back in the machine, lifting up, making sure it's going to clear. And check the bottom. This can be done in a single needle machine as well. Same thing, it's just going to be placed up and down vertical. Multi-needle, I have it horizontal. Now we're going to stitch out our last step. Last step, I did forget to tell you that since you really won't see the back, so I wasn't too worried about it. If you want, you can use the same color thread for the backing as well, but because it's sandwiched together, you really won't see the backing, but it's up to you. I just happened that I didn't change it. I should have, but I'm letting you know now to go ahead and change that if you want. Right now I've got white, so we'll stitch out the last step. Perfect, we're finished. We've done our last step. Make sure everything is good before we actually remove anything. Remove our tape. Everything's stitched out great. Everything's perfect. We just have our little threads we'll be cutting, and the front looks great. We'll be singeing some of these threads as well, and I'll meet you over at the cutting table. Alright, we're back here at the table. Move my directions out of the way. And what we're going to do now is unhoop it, since everything is good, and remove all the stabilizer. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and trim all these little threads that are hanging, and I don't want to trim too close. I'm going to trim it just enough so that I can go ahead and singe the ends with my lighter so that it'll shrivel up and kind of do a little knot there by melting it. If you do it near the felt, just be really careful that we don't do it too fast near the felt because you can singe it. It will melt. It's acrylic. And we did it really quick and then push down. So we're all good. You don't need to worry too much about these because these little tack lines are going to be cut off when we do our straight line. So now I'm going to take my straight edge. You can use any one that you want. I'm using my little shorter one this time. And my rotary. And we're going to go 1/8. So my 1/8 line is these little dashes here. The first lines is usually the 1/8. Then it goes to 1/4, 3/8, and 1/2 inch. So I'm going to put this little dash line on the inside of my sew line. That way I have a minimum of leftover. You can go right on the line if you want, and that's 1/8. You don't want to go much more than that because it just makes too much bulk, too much outside. You want to see more of the design and your lining. So I'm going to line it up on the inside of my stitch line. Straight up and down cut. We do the same on the sides. Right, so I've got my sides done. It's up to you. You can always take a marker to your white sides if you want, if you like a Sharpie that matches the same color, or you can leave it. Sometimes it's really not seen much, and with the same color felt, it kind of helps blend it in. And I'm going to take my inexpensive 99-cent store scissors, Dollar Tree. I get mine from 99-cent store, so cheap, inexpensive. They cut really good on vinyl, and then once they do go dull, because they get dull really quick with especially felt and vinyl and fleece, just toss them or use them as paper scissors after that. So we're going to go ahead and now hand cut the curve part, and this part, same thing, we want to try to keep our 1/8 of an inch around the outside of it, and we're just going to try to do one cut. You don't want to snip your scissors. Alright, so we have two good pieces. There we go. We have our little pockets, and then we have the front and the back. Perfect. Everything looks good. Now we're going to take our clip, and we want to have the ends out. Or the pinch part, you want to have them out so we can glue them in, and you want to keep them out. Alright. So we'll start with one side, and I'm going to use the Fabri-Tac. I'm going to keep it upside down here. Alrighty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of the Fabri-Tac inside here in the middle, and then I'm going to add it to the metal part of the clip. You don't want to come out too far, but just enough. You want to make sure there's a good little bead in there. And then I'm going to add to the bottom part. I'm going to add the glue here. I'm going to put it on both sides so it touches the felt, and it also will be on the vinyl side. You don't want to go too far up, but just enough. Make sure it's going to stay good. You want to make sure it's in the whole pocket. Okay, and then I'm going to place that and slide it in right in the middle. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom here. So to do this, I'm going to slide it in, make sure it's touching the bottom. I'm going to press down. And this is where you want to make sure your pocket is right at that line, or if not below the line. You don't want to go above it to the high side, you want to go to the low side of it, because you're going to be folding this part down. Oops, I put it in upside down. Sorry about that. It went upside down. So we want to make sure that when we put it in, we can fold this over. Alright? So placing it in there, we want to make sure we can fold this part over. So I have it in the center. You want to make sure it is right in the center because both pieces need to be even. So there we go. Now I know it fit right. And I'm going to push down the vinyl all around it so that the glue can adhere on both sides. And I'm going to fold it over. There we go. And I'm going to extend out the other side. Same thing, I'm going to add my glue. It's actually coming out already. Glue up the middle. Do the same thing. I'm going to pull it out a little bit. I'm going to do glue on both sides. We're staying in focus here, sorry. There we go. And I'm going to cap my glue really quick so it's not all over. And then the same thing, I'm going to bend it a little bit. This one's a little tricky because we're now putting both pieces in and we're going to hit that other side. So we want to make sure it's right in the middle and that they line up. You want to make sure these line up. We're going to go all the way to the bottom, press down, and fold. Okay? So we want to make sure you're straight, even, push down, and it's going to fold over onto your pocket. So this is how it should be looking, like a little A-frame. You've got the front and then the back. And if you opened it, you don't want to open too much because you're going to hit your pockets here, but if you did open it, that's where you're going to be. That's how it should look. Alright, and then we're going to let it dry. And it's perfect. All lined up good. Our hoops are all the same. Our sides are the same. That's why you want to make sure your cutting is really well. It done evenly is good. So there we go. We can put our little note in there. Stands up. Hard to see it that way, but it'll stand up like a little A-frame. Perfect. There we go. We can put anything in it. You can put a photo in it. This was a do not forget one, so we can put a gift card in it so they can have, you know, the gift card and a little A-frame. And it sits nice and even. So you want to make sure once we do glue it that you press it down on the table and that you make sure that your tops are even and you make sure that your clip ends are in there, and keep pressing down a little bit to get that glue. If you hot glue it, it'll be kind of instant, so you got to be careful that everything's lined up. And the E6000 glue gives you a little bit of time to play with it as well, kind of like the Fabri-Tac does. And then you just want to make sure everything's even, and then it's laying straight. That's why we want to make sure we have our straight edges on the bottom as well. And we're all set. And this one's a don't forget. There are other designs as well. And this is the note photo holder by Bad Bobbin. Hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed it and want to see more, subscribe, hit that bell, and you'll get more notifications. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.